I'm done being blamed and pressured to financially support the victims of a tragedy I had nothing to do with, other than being related to the person who caused it. This might get me downvoted to hell, but I need to get this off my chest. A couple of years ago, my mostly estranged brother got drunk and high before driving his car straight into another vehicle, killing not only himself, but a woman and her 2 young children. They were just on their way home from school. His dog was in the car and survived, but my brother died on impact, as did the occupants of the other car. The story made headlines where I live because of how senseless and heartbreaking it was. The woman left behind a husband and 2 other kids who weren't in the car. I can't even imagine their pain. It's horrifying and tragic. I am genuinely sorry for what happened to them. But I'm really sick of catching misdirected anger, blame, and pressure to support the surviving family members, just because I'm his sister and have a well-paying job. My brother went off the rails as a teen while I went to law school. I'd been estranged from him for 3 years before the accident, after he got sucked into conspiracy theories and started adopting extreme views. The only contact we had in the year leading up to it was when I messaged him, "Happy birthday," to appease my mother, who despaired a lot at our bad relationship. But because we share a relatively uncommon last name, and because I have a well-paying job, a lot of people think I should somehow step in to help support the surviving family. The widowed father even reached out to me and asked me to contribute financially to raising his remaining kids. I get that he's desperate, and I do feel awful for him, but I'm not responsible for my brother's decisions. I said no, as gently and respectfully as I could, and now I'm apparently an a-hole. He has continued showing up at my workplace with his kids, telling me everything they now go without because I am selfish. I don't even know how he found it. I've had strangers message me. I've had coworkers awkwardly dance around the topic. I feel like I walk around with a scarlet letter on my forehead just because of my last name. I didn't do this, I didn't ask for this, and I'm over it. It's like people want me to carry the moral and financial burden of someone else's crime. It's like people think someone needs to pay, and if the killer's dead and died in debt rather than with an estate, then the lawyer's sibling with a good job is the next best thing. But I'm not a replacement villain or compensation scheme. I have my own life and my own responsibilities. I have compassion, but I also have boundaries, and saying no to something I never should have been dragged into in the first place shouldn't make me a monster. I'm exhausted. I want to live my life without being judged for a tragedy I didn't cause. I want people to stop suggesting I have to make right a tragedy I had nothing to do with. I just want to be left alone. Now for the top comments. While the situation is terrible, the fact that they're trying to make you a scapegoat is totally unfair. This may sound insensitive, especially given the grief the father must be dealing with, but since this is now affecting your quality of life, maybe send him a cease and desist and take further action if he ignores it. Otherwise, this won't stop and might even escalate. Grief doesn't give him the right to harass you outside of your workplace. He is weaponizing grief. Being a single dad with 2 kids is not an impossible task to handle. He should man the heck up and get his act together. He is trying to guilt trip you into giving him money. Unfortunately, grief isn't rational. I went through something very similar. My father was killed by a speeding driver last year. I went to high school with the sister of the guy who killed my dad, and even though I wasn't friends with her at the time, it took less than a minute to find her on social media because of common connections. Her life was continuing on as if nothing happened, and mine was ripped apart. I hit a breaking point earlier this year when she traveled abroad for concerts of an artist I also like, just a few months after my father's death. When particularly upset one night, I admittedly left her a string of nasty messages and comments about how she had some nerve being abroad on vacation, and posting concert pictures and videos of how much fun she was having, and her food pics after what happened, because her family destroyed my family's lives. It just felt so unfair that she was at this concert while I was crying for my dad at 3 a.m. The next day, I woke up and saw that she'd sent me back a very polite but firm message, saying that she is genuinely sorry for the loss of my father, especially having lost her own father a few years ago, and that she is absolutely horrified by what her brother did. but she said he was an adult who made his own terrible decisions. She didn't hold a gun to her brother's head and force him to get in his car and drive almost double the speed limit. So what happened isn't on her in any way. She said that her brother's actions don't mean she lost the right to ever enjoy her life again, and it's unfair for me to lash out at her for it and blame her for an accident that happened when she was over 1,000 miles away. She finished by saying that she wishes me well, but to please never contact her again, because while her situation doesn't compare to mine, she didn't sign up for this either. And it's been difficult for her to deal with people blaming and judging her for something she played no part in. She said she wants to move on with her life. She told me she'd give me 24 hours to see the message, but would block me after that to protect both her peace and mine, so nothing she posts crosses my feed randomly one day, since we have a few mutual followers, and upsets me out of the blue by reminding me of what happened. She was right. It wasn't fair to blame her. Looking back on the message now, she was so much nicer to me than she had to be, considering my comments to her. So she clearly decided to show me grace when I was obviously struggling and grieving, which I appreciate. I think I just subconsciously wanted someone to blame and yell at who could actually hear me, and since her brother was unavailable, he also died in the accident, she was the closest thing my struggling, grieving self, incapable of being rational at that stage, had to getting to scream at her brother who did this to me. What happened was awful, but you can only blame the person responsible who chose to get behind the wheel of a car and be an idiot. It is not your fault. The same way my father's death wasn't my former classmate's fault. You don't owe them financial compensation from your own earnings. I hope the people hassling you come to see that the way I eventually did. I hope they find healing and leave you alone. And I don't know where you are, but there might be benefits the father can access to help with the costs of raising the surviving kids alone, and I hope he gets connected to them. Next story. My brother asked me to lie to his pregnant wife about where he was. I refused, and now he's not speaking to me. My brother, 35 male, has been married for 8 years to a genuinely wonderful woman, 32 female. She's one of those people who lights up every room she walks into. Kind, patient, and incredibly supportive. After years of infertility struggles, she's finally 7 months pregnant with their first child. And I've never seen her so happy. She's glowing, always excitedly sharing baby updates, and constantly expressing how much she trusts my brother. She truly believes she married her best friend. 2 weeks ago, I got a late-night call from my brother. His voice was frantic, almost panicked. He asked me, out of nowhere, to tell his wife that he had been at my house if she asked. Immediately, my stomach dropped. That kind of request never comes from a good place. When I pressed him on where he actually was, he stumbled for a moment and then admitted he had been hanging out with an old friend. After pushing further, he confessed that the friend was his ex. I was furious. I told him right then that I would not cover for him. I refused to lie to his wife, especially with her being pregnant and depending on him now more than ever. His reaction shocked me. He completely blew up. He accused me of choosing sides and claimed I was trying to ruin his marriage. I told him bluntly that I wasn't the one sneaking around behind a pregnant woman's back. He hung up on me, and since that night, he has cut me off entirely. Now the situation has me torn in knots. My mother found out about the argument, and instead of supporting me, she scolded me for not going along with his request. She said I should have just lied to keep the peace, and that marriages are complicated, and sometimes men make mistakes. I can't even begin to describe how disgusted that made me feel. Keeping the peace for him means betraying my sister-in-law, who has done nothing but love this family and trust us all. The part that haunts me most is picturing her sitting at home, knitting tiny baby clothes, daydreaming about her future, while my brother sneaks around with his ex. She has no idea. She talks about him with so much pride, and it kills me inside to know what he's doing. I feel like I'm betraying her by staying silent. At the same time, I know dropping this on her right now could shatter her world, and that stress could be dangerous for her pregnancy. She doesn't deserve that while carrying their baby. So I'm stuck. I won't lie to cover for him, but I also can't bring myself to tell her. Not yet. Not while she's this vulnerable. It's eating me alive. Every time I see her smile and talk about how much she trusts him, I feel like screaming. I don't know what to do. I can't protect them both. And no matter what, it feels like someone is going to get hurt. Your brother is an a-hole big time. Your mother loves him, sure, but someone in your family must talk to your brother and shake him like hell. He cannot do this to the woman carrying his child. He will lose her and he'd better get ready for it. Absolutely agree. Protecting his wife and unborn child should come before protecting his ego. OP isn't betraying him by refusing to lie. They're showing integrity when it matters most. Honestly, even though it's more terrifying at the time, leaving and getting settled before the baby arrives is her best bet. If he's canoodling with an ex and asking people to lie, there has to be other things going on. You don't go from super good husband to that overnight. Also, if the time with the ex was more than just talking, STDs are seriously bad news for babies before they're born. They're not great at any time. If he did dip the wick, she needs to get tested for the safety of her unborn child. My mom says I should have just lied to keep the peace. Whose peace would you be protecting here? Your cheating brother? Seriously, your brother has now compromised his pregnant wife's health and the baby's health. Yes, babies can get seriously ill from some STDs and STIs in the womb. Someone needs to immediately inform your sister-in-law so she can go and check on her baby that she had waited years for. Two people's health could be compromised here, including an innocent baby. It wasn't an STI, but my brother got something as a baby most people blow off as not deadly because it often isn't for them. My brother got the flu, not a bad cold, at 10 days. I didn't understand how bad it really was until I had to go live with grandma for the duration of the hospital stay so mom and dad could stay, as well as when my mom's siblings all flew in from around the US. Babies are fragile. Last story. Our newborn, 1 month old, is making me see my wife as stupid, and it's turning me into an a-hole. I feel awful and need to stop. Guys, I'm in a really bad place and I need a reality check. My wife is my best friend, truly. I love her more than anyone in the world. She's kind, loyal, compassionate, and one of the most genuine people I've ever known. We've been married for 3 years, and up until recently, I would have told you I was the luckiest guy alive. But I can't shake this ugly thought that's been growing in my head, and it's eating me alive. I feel like my wife is slow. Just typing that makes me feel like the biggest a-hole on the planet. I hate myself for even thinking it, let alone admitting it out loud. Still, for years it's been this quiet, lingering thing in the back of my mind. She's always needed me for anything remotely technical or that involves problem solving. I can't even count the number of times I've had to FaceTime her to walk her through something simple, like how to find a feature in her banking app, something I explained to her multiple times before. It's not just technology either. It's everyday things too. We don't share the same sense of humor. Sometimes I'll reference something online and she just stares blankly. I once had to literally explain what a meme was to her. For a while, it honestly didn't bother me. I work in IT, so that kind of stuff is second nature for me anyway. A part of me even liked being the guy who could step in and fix things. It gave me a sense of purpose, made me feel needed, like I was her safety net. Back then, it just felt like one of her quirks. Nothing serious. But now we have a 1-month-old baby, and that small quirk has turned into this massive problem that's threatening to unravel everything. She just doesn't seem to get it when it comes to the baby. I'll show her how to hold him properly so he doesn't cry, and 5 minutes later, she's holding him in some strange way and he's wailing. I'll demonstrate how to change his diapers smoothly, but when she tries, it feels like everything goes wrong. The baby ends up screaming, the diaper's on wrong, or it takes her twice as long as it should. And I know she's trying. God, I can see how hard she's trying. But it's like she's always fumbling, and I'm the one who has to swoop in and fix it before everything spirals. I've read about mom brain, sleep deprivation, and how overwhelming postpartum life can be. I try to tell myself it's just that. But then another voice creeps in. Shouldn't she be more in tune with him by now? She carried him for 9 months. She's his mother. Isn't there supposed to be some instinct? Meanwhile, I feel like I'm the one who actually knows what he needs, and it leaves me resenting her when she doesn't. And my patience? It's gone. Completely gone. I snap at her constantly. I get sharp, sarcastic, critical. I can see the way her face falls when I tear into her. I can see I'm crushing her confidence, making her doubt herself. And then the guilt hits me like a truck, because I know I'm not just failing her, I'm failing both of them. We're exhausted, both of us. We're supposed to be a team, but instead I'm acting like a drill sergeant barking orders, and not even a good one. She needs love and encouragement right now, and all I'm giving her is frustration and criticism. I can tell I'm breaking her spirit at the very moment she needs me most, and it kills me. The worst part is that I know this is my fault. She's not incompetent. She's a new mom, and new moms struggle. But I can't stop the anger from boiling up when I see her mess up. And then I hate myself for it. It's a vicious cycle. I don't know how to fix this. I don't know how to stop being so angry, or how to be the supportive husband and father I promised I'd be. Has anyone else been here before? How do I break this cycle before I ruin everything? Because right now that's what it feels like. I'm ruining the best thing I've ever had. She's a month postpartum. I have a master's, but when I was a month out, I struggled to figure out basic things. Think working the microwave. I went to the doctor and they said it's not that unusual, but I should watch in case it turns into PPD. Yep, people really tend to underestimate how much a hormonal shift, especially one as drastic as pregnancy and postpartum, can impact your mental state. I was never somebody who struggled with the typical PMS mood swings I hear about. But during and after pregnancy, oh Lord, my brain felt smooth and more aerodynamic than an airplane. This has more to do with the stress of dealing with a newborn than any problem between you and your wife. It should get better as the baby grows up. I also think this is the reason. You're both stressed and tired with a newborn. OP just has to breathe through the frustration and let your wife do things at her own pace. It will get better. 1 month is not long, and being a mother doesn't automatically make you a professional at caring for a baby. She just needs time to adjust. Also, remember to compliment her when she does things well, not only criticize. My sister-in-law told my husband and me before we had kids to work on our marriage, because after children, small issues will turn into huge ones. Seems like that's what's happening here. The difficulties of having a baby are putting stress on their relationship weak points. This was my worry when I got pregnant less than a year after we got together. Found out 2 years to the day after starting to talk to each other that we hadn't really had time as a couple to survive an unplanned pregnancy. It was rough at times during the baby years, but we looked at it as us against the world, rather than us against each other. It's the only reason we're going to be celebrating 21 years together this year.